motorcycle. I don't like telling people I have a motorcycle because every time I tell someone, they always got to tell me a story about how their friends crashed on a motorcycle. You know, like, why do people have to be so negative? I don't go up to pregnant women telling them my dad left. You know what I'm saying? So annoying. So annoying. I walked at my apartment one time, right? I walked in my apartment, and my neighbor walked up to me. She was like, "Oh my God, you got a motorcycle? Are you serious? You better be careful." I got in a car wreck the other day. My car flipped 8 times. I'm lucky to be alive. Blessed, right? Yeah. She black, by the way. Everyone around us was like, you know, that is crazy that your car flipped 8 times, you're alive. You are blessed, you know? And I'm over here thinking, who the heck counted, right? Like, who's that calm when their car's flipping in the air? Ah! One! Like, who's doing that?
I'm so excited to have an opportunity to speak with you. Your journey is just so remarkable. You know, your story of just perseverance and just due diligence and being a true artisan of your craft. You know,
Wow.
It's so commendable. It's so commendable. So without going,
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Without going way back, I just want to talk about first, you know, coming of age. You lived in a few different places, you know, Portland, Oregon, but you call Florida your home. You know, so I want to talk about, you know, coming of age as a young person, you know, a young Black man, and understanding and realizing how important comedy was in your life. And then like taking pen to paper and beginning to craft your jokes and beginning to craft your story. You know, talk to me a little bit about that.
Okay, before I start talking, just you got to cut me off because I'll start going. So just a heads up. You got, okay, I'm not going to be mad if you're like, all right, okay.
No,
like, let me.
We got time. If you got time, I got time. I want to have a
Okay, I got it.
interview.
Yes, ma'am. I got time. So yeah, I was born in Portland, Oregon. You know, a lot of people don't know this. Oregon is where they grow white people. And there was there's no Black people there. Like my mom, their whole family, you know, my grandma and then their children were in the newspaper because they were the first Black family in Sherwood, Oregon, where they, you know, my mom, you know, grew up, and so they were.
A joke.
No, I'm dead serious. They were. My grandma has. I think she sold the house. I'm not sure, but the house she has in Sherwood, like when you walk in, they have it framed to the newspaper because they were the first Black family in Sherwood, Oregon. And then they had like a town meeting, like the council had like a meeting because they were, you know, people were like, oh, it's a Black family. So it was like, we don't know if it's, I don't know. It was just, you know, super racist back then. It was super racist. I mean, back then. But like, you know, so it just.
Not much has changed, brother. Not much.
Yeah. So a little more cameras now. But so yeah, it was like that's where I was born, you know. And I didn't in Portland. And there's Black people. There's some Black. I mean, Portland is the whitest major city in America, you know. But that's as dark as it gets. I was in Newburgh, you know, so I was like the only Black kid, you know, in the school. White people like, yo, why are you Black on one side but white on the other? And I would just be making up stuff. I'm like, because you ain't done transforming yet. I hit my growth spurt early, you know. And so I grew up around that. And then when I was 9, I moved, and I still moved a lot. Like I still from, you know, 0 to 9, I was living, I lived in Oregon, Texas, overseas. You know what I mean? I was a bunch of places. And, but when I was 9, I moved to Memphis, Tennessee. Right. And that was way different. Was way different. Oh, it was pretty weird. It was pretty weird. And then it was like, because I went from being like the only Black kid in school to being, there was no white people. There was no white people.
I experienced that myself, actually. I experienced that myself when I was in high school. Yeah. My freshman and sophomore year of high school, I attended Hendersonville High School in Hendersonville, North Carolina. And I would go to school and I'd be like the only Black person in a lot of my classes. And then I later transferred. I came back east and went to Chester High School, and it was all Black, super Black, you know.
How was that transition?
You know what? It was a great transition for me because, you know, I'm originally from the East. I'm originally from Chester, Pennsylvania. So I knew those students, but it was just so interesting when I got my early high school education in North Carolina, when I got back to Chester, I just realized how disadvantaged so many predominantly African American school districts, um, you know, are at a disadvantage, are just
Yeah.
behind the education ball,
Yeah.
and it was very sad for me. I was very happy to have that experience, but it was also just very jarring and, pretty earth shattering just to learn how just so far behind, a lot of Black students are academically, you know.
Yeah, when I went to Memphis.
He's interviewing me. For
No,
you.
but what you're saying makes sense, because when I went to Memphis and I was doing the stuff we were doing, I had did like the year before or something like that. Like
Yeah.
I remember like I was like, oh, I remember as a kid I was like, oh, I'm about to pass everything, which was like a bad mentality, because I was like, oh, I don't even got it. Like everything you're teaching I already know,
Right.
So yeah, so I remember thinking that. I was like, oh, this is gonna be easy. I don't got to study. They're just teaching the same thing I learned last year. But yeah, I didn't. I guess I didn't think about it till now.
The things that
You
the
know?
12th graders were getting at Chester High School, I had gotten in the ninth grade.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had gotten in the ninth grade. Yeah. And it was pretty, I was just like, wow. And then I became bored. School became
Yeah.
boring to me, but I was lucky I had my dad, advocating for me and making sure, me and my sister were doing all sorts of college preparatory work at home. He was just like, since you girls aren't getting it in high school, then you got to get it here at home. I'm going to make sure you get it. But, back to you, so coming of age, Memphis, I want to talk about those like teenage years. Those
Teenage years.
yeah, because that's when you're trying to figure out, who you are, where you fall in like the junior high school and high school pecking order. Like, were you a class clown? I'm
I
curious.
mean, I wasn't really. I mean, I guess I was in certain classes. I was trying to turn on the light so it could be more like, I don't know, because it seemed like there's like weird shadows and stuff. Anyway, but I wasn't like a class. I was pretty quiet. I was an introvert, and I was an extrovert at times. It depends. If someone was like, I think you know how it goes. It's like if someone was, uh, just the loudest person in the class, I would just chill. And if everyone was quiet, I'd be like, all right, guys, I'll take it.
Gotcha.
Like that's the only time if everybody was quiet. And I was like, I'm not really that quiet once you get to know me. So
Well, I mean,
I was,
outshine. What was that one bit you did in America's Got Talent Britain where you talked about, if my girl was bigger than me? Well, wait a minute, how did it go? Because I was dying. I was falling out laughing.
oh, well, I said, some guys care for girls taller than them. I don't care. I was like, I don't care if a girl's taller than me and I jump. Girl, get this loving. It don't matter to me. Can I reach your lips?
That whole thing was hilarious. I was in here dying. So,
Thank you.
how old were you when you wrote your first joke, Preacher?
I was 16. I was
16.
16 years old. When I was 16 years old, I remember thinking I want to be a comedian when I first turned 16. And I wrote like binders. I mean binders full of, you know what I mean? Like binders. And they were all trash. But I used to write every day. I used to write 10 pages a day of jokes. And I wish I would have kept doing that. I think I would have been brilliant. But now I'm like, I stopped writing jokes when I got to be like, I kept losing my notebook. So I just stopped writing jokes. So
Oh,
around 19 is when I stopped writing. It's only did for like a few years.
it's
But
not good to get back to that,
you're right. But that's that habit. It's
Yeah.
you know, that's very true. I try to get back into it, and I'll go a few days writing, and then I get in the habit of not doing, because at this point I've been doing it 11 years. So I kind of just, a lot of times I'll just walk on stage and I'll talk about my day, and then something will come out. I'll just be, but I do need to write more. But I wrote my first joke when I was 16 years old.
Okay, so you had
And
your first stroke at 16. So when you're 16 years old, you're in the 11th grade, 10th, 11th grade, should be 11th grade. You're
yeah,
coming.
I wasn't in 11th grade though. I wasn't in any grade. I got my GED when I was 16.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah. So yeah, I used to be so embarrassed about that. I don't care now. But like before,
Let me tell you something. We all have, there are elements to our lives. I think that as a human being, we can all sit back and say, wow, I can remember once upon a time I used to be really embarrassed about that. Or,
yeah,
I used to be really self-conscious about that. We all have
yeah,
walked in that space. I used to be embarrassed to say I was from the projects. But guess what?
yeah.
I'm from the projects, and it's helped made me.
That's credit now. That's credit.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
So
Yeah.
it is what it is. It is what it is. You're an
Yeah,
amazing.
but I was also a kid. You know what I mean? You're 16, like, 16 to know, especially because I'm 16, I could still be in high school, so I got my GED at 16. So, and then like, a lot of people, like kids now, like they're sad because they're not graduating. And I'm like, that's so funny to me. Like, it's like, because they're not going to walk across the stage. And it's like, they don't realize that it doesn't matter. Like they're going to, and years from now, they're going to be like, oh, I thought, you know, I thought prom was important, but it's like it's only important to them because from where they're at right now.
Right.
So me being 16, I really wanted to go to prom. I never kissed a girl. I'd never, like I didn't get my first kiss when I was like 18, like playing truth or dare. That's how I got my first kiss. It was some dude be like, I dare you, Monica, kiss, That's how I got my first kiss. And I was like, I am counting it because technically it happened. So like,
Are you sure? 18 is still really young to be kissing up on some girl.
You said it's young? Oh, what? Are you serious? You joking? Yeah. You're joking. I did a poll. I did like a video on my Instagram, and I think I posted it. And then I asked people how old they were when they got their first kiss, and then the average age was like 12. I mean,
oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, how old were you when you got your first kiss?
What? Let me stop.
I want to know how old you were when you got your first kiss.
Honestly, I was 12.
Exactly. And you judging me. Wow. 18, still a little, come on, he was 12. That was the average age. Everyone was like 12. And I'm not talking about me.
Okay, let me clarify. Okay, so when I was 12, it was like, a little peck, whatever, right? It was lightweight. It was light work. It was light work.
Me too. It wasn't like I was like I wasn't like going in like that. It was just a peck.
Well, he was trying to go in. The guy who was
He was trying to go in?
He was trying to, he was older than I was too, a few years older than I was. I didn't realize that.
Few years. So he's like 15? That's like mad creepy when you're 15. When you're 15, hitting on 12-year-old, you're like, yo, man. It's different.
It's so crazy because he may have been, honestly. He may have been.
Oh, really?
He may have been.
Yeah.
Because he had a grip on like a grown man. I was like, whoa, player.
Oh, word.
What up? But yeah, that was my first kiss. And yeah, it was light work though. It was light work. So 18 is still whatever. You right on time. But
look, hey, I caught up now. I'm just saying.
Yeah, of course you mad caught up. But when you're young, there are certain things that are definitely important to you. Like you want to be in high school with your friends. You want to be able to go to prom with your friends. You want to be able to do whatever those things are that are the markings or the benchmarks for that particular age group. So I so totally get it. But I wanted to ask you, you're a young man, you're coming of age, you have your GED, which is admirable. I'm proud of you for like leaning in and making sure you got that done. But who are you looking up to? Like, who are the comedians that you were like, oh my God, I cannot miss Martin Lawrence, or I cannot miss Chris Rock, or I want to sit back and watch, all of Red Fox or Rudy Ray Moore? Who are some of the early comedians that you look up to and admire, and even maybe perhaps like, pattern your work after, your style after, until you were able to find your own lifestyle that works for you as a comedian?
I was a huge fan of Comic View. So anyone on Comic View, I used to be like all over that. Comic View, I was all over Comic View. Arnez J was my favorite comedian. I mean, he was my favorite. I mean, he was my favorite comedian ever. I was a huge fan of Kevin Hart. He had just came, I think when I started doing stand-up, he came out with I'm a Grown Little Man. And I just remember like crying tears. He was great. Brian Regan, Dane Cook. Huh?
Have you ever met Kevin Hart?
Yeah, I met him. I met him at Helium Comedy Club in Portland, Oregon. I met him because I was doing stand-up I was 19. I was doing stand-up at Harvey's Comedy Club down the street. He was at Helium, and I rushed over to wait for him outside to take a picture. And then some white dude, which was weird. It was the only white dude there. Like there was no white people.
There's always one. There's always one.
And he was like, oh my gosh, my wife's in the hospital and I can't go to the show. Do you want these tickets? And then I was like, yes. I mean, yeah. I mean, not yeah. You know what I mean? Like that your wife's in the hospital, but yeah. And so he gave me 2 tickets, and they were like, you know, they were pretty close, and I was just sitting with random people. And I remember someone I was sitting with was fine. That's random. But anyway, so we was watching him, and he was amazing. I remember him thinking of tags online, and I remember him laughing and yelling to the green room, "Spank, write that down." Like he was just thinking of stuff.
He
told people, oh, he's great.
His timing is exceptional.
Yeah.
Exceptional.
Yeah.
You know, one of my comedians is the late Bernie Mac. I love Bernie Mac.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
He's so funny.
Like, what an icon, like gone too soon. So, you know, Kevin Hart, I just mentioned Bernie Mac, Steve Harvey. You know, these are men who are so huge in the space right now. And I mean, they got shows, they got sitcoms, they got films. Like when you think about the trajectory of your career, you know, what do you see next for you? Like, what would you like to do?
I don't know. I would like to do a lot of things. I would like to host a show. I mean, I've hosted a show already. I hosted a show called World's Most Amazing Dog. That was pretty fun. I want to host a show. I want to host another show.
Amazing Dogs. Do you have a dog?
Yeah. I don't have a dog. I used to have a dog, and I hosted a show where it was like pretty much America's Got Talent with dogs.
Oh, well.
That's all it was.
Hilarious.
Yeah. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun. But I want to host something. I want to act or something. I just want to put on a special. But I ultimately just want to be happy. So I have a bunch of ideas of what I want to do, but I just I don't know. I just have a bunch of ideas I want to do. But I feel like when I say it, oh, I want to do this, I just rather show people, be like, hey, look what I presented.
You know what I mean? I respect that. That. You know, it's like, don't talk about it, be about it.
Exactly.
Show your worth. That's my motto.
Exactly.
Show your worth.
Yeah, people are praised in public for how they practice in private. So I need to go ahead, come back.
Well, you know, there's always this great big conversation about your vegan lifestyle. When did you become a vegan? Become a vegan?
In 2016, I became a vegetarian. 2017, I became a vegan. So 4 years, no meat.
For those of us who may live under a rock and don't know the difference between being a vegan and being a vegetarian, you know, like walk me through it, because I eat meat, okay? Once upon a time, I was a vegetarian. And then my doctor suggested that I needed to, fortify my immune system a little stronger and include.
That's so crazy. It's like every time, like I'll hear something and a doctor will say something, but doctors don't know anything about diet. They're not nutritionists. They're not. So that's like the doctors. I think they're supposed to take. They take like I don't know how many. It's like they take like a few weeks of nutrition. I mean, it's insane the amount of work they. But yeah, some doctor told my some doctor told my cousin that she needs to start eating. She was a vegan, and she said her iron was down, so she needed like red meat.
That's what they said
and it
to
was
me.
like,
That's what they said to me. Now, so mind you,
yes,
I don't eat meat regularly. I don't eat meat
yeah,
regularly, but I am at a place in my life where I'm trying to come back to being a vegetarian. And it's not hard. However, the next step is being a vegan. And being a vegan means you can't eat cheese, right? And you can't do any dairy, correct?
yeah. So a vegetarian diet is healthier. A diet that contains meat, but it's not really. I mean, it also in some ways is more detrimental. But yeah, because you're like, well, so a vegetarian, like, you can't eat any. They don't eat any meat, but they still eat dairy. They still eat eggs. You know what I mean? So they still have those things. With a vegan, it's plants. It's plants. So you don't eat anything that involves an animal. It's like we don't touch.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, so I was a vegetarian for a year, and when I first did it, I did it because I was watching a documentary. I did it for ethical reasons. I didn't do it for health reasons. But I was watching a documentary, and then they were with my ex, and then they were murdering elephants for their tusks, and they would murder the elephants for the tusks, take the tusks, and then sell it. And elephants are becoming extinct because of that. And I just remember thinking, I was like, man, this is so messed up how they're exploiting this animal for their body. I mean, it's so wrong. I don't even pass the wings, babe. I don't know why they doing that. You know what I mean? As I'm going in,
you kind of felt
and I
like,
was like, yeah. I was like, oh, I feel kind of hypocritical. So I was like, I'll try it for a little bit. So I was like, I'll try it. And then when I first became a vegetarian, I was like lightheaded. I was like, oh, I need meat. Like I'm eating cheese. I'm eating cheese, pizza, and fries. I don't know why. I feel so weak. Like I was eating trash. I didn't, because when you transition, you don't know how. So I did it for, after like a week, I felt way better. So I was like, oh, I feel good. And especially in veganism, like I feel amazing. Like I feel if something on me hurts, I feel like it heals faster. I feel more energetic. Everyone always talks about the physicality when they think about veganism, but they never bring up the mental. Like mentally, I feel in a better space. I feel more clear. It's not as it's just you just feel better. But
I like that.
yeah.
There are times, like I said, where I've done veganism, right? But I can't say that I do it all the time. You know, um,
Yeah.
right before award season, when I would have to be on a red carpet, yeah, I'm a vegan all day. I'm a vegan all day before I hit that red carpet. I'm a vegan for 2 whole months, leading up to award season.
Yeah.
But then
Black people should really be vegan.
yeah,
Black people should for sure be vegan.
yeah.
Just from what I'm finding out just as a vegan. But I mean, I want to influence.
What did I do?
What?
No, go ahead. Keep talking, babe. You said
Okay,
Black
so
definitely be.
Black people should 1000% be. I mean, because just on the fact that because if you think about the reasons we eat meat, it's because we just don't care because we're not that animal, right? It's like we don't care. We're not that animal. But that was that's the same mentality like slave owners, like with racist white people had back, and they're like, I don't care. I'm not black. Like they used to teach my mom. They used to teach my mom that black people are a third of a person in books.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in books, like where she was going to school in Oregon, they had books where black people, like, you understand, she
you
said
weren't
that
you weren't considered a whole person.
Yeah, I mean that's just like
that's what we battle.
Yeah,
Black Lives Matter is all about. Like we are
exactly.
a person. We are a full human being. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's some people, like, people are too used to like black people dying. We're just too used to it. And I just think that's something you shouldn't be used to. I don't know what I'm talking about. I think I just started going on
No, you're good. You're good. We were just talking about how, African Americans historically, when mainstream catches a cold, Black America gets a fever, gets pneumonia. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the importance of, how African Americans can benefit from adapting a vegan lifestyle. I'm completely on board. I wish more of us would do
Yeah.
it. We definitely,
Especially because the number one killer of us is heart disease.
yep.
Right? And the only diet to reverse heart disease is a plant-based diet. So after that, I mean, it should have been like, that's the diet to reverse heart disease is a plant-based diet.
Yep.
That's the number one killer of us. I mean, my mom used to be on diabetes medication until she became vegan, and then she got off all her medication. So it's like people always it's just we're used to that. I mean, meat tastes. I mean, the way wings taste good, cheeseburger, all that stuff.
This is what I want to know, preacher. A day in a life, like what is your diet like? For somebody like myself who's interested in becoming vegan, what are some meals that I could substitute? Like in the morning, if I wanted eggs, and as a vegan, you don't eat eggs. Is there something that, in plant life or beans or something, or like something that has a consistency of eggs, like, or
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, you can take. I mean, if you get some tofu, you can take some tofu and then make scrambled tofu. It tastes exactly like eggs. You get some tofu, has some nutritional yeast. A lot of people have this negative stigma with tofu where they say it causes men to have boobs, or it gives, or women, it has too much estrogen for women or something like that. And it's like
about soy, that men shouldn't have soy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. First off, they're talking about men not having soy and giving men boobs or whatever. I mean, that's silly because then men wouldn't. I mean, transgender men wouldn't have surgery, right? They wouldn't just eat soy. So
Right.
I mean, it's just it's been proven. I mean, soy and tofu has more protein than steak. Than like fish. Like it has more protein than all this. Like it's not. It's a bean. Like they take a bean and they turn it into. So you could just take some tofu, make some scrambled. If I made you some scrambled tofu, I swear to Bob, you would be like, "This is the best scrambled anything I've ever tasted in my life."
Scrambled
You can
tofu.
have
Scrambled.
yes. I would. You take some scrambled tofu. You just take the firm tofu, and then you get some of that water out. You crush it up, throw it inside a skillet with some green peppers, some red peppers. I don't know if you like jalapenos like that. Some chia seeds.
I gotta try that. So let me ask you, preacher. So let's just say you are interested in a beautiful woman and you want to cook for her for the first time at home. What are you making for this woman? Like, what do you make for this beautiful lady?
You know what? I haven't.
We gotta have an appetizer, entree,
Okay.
and dessert. Okay.
Okay. It depends on what kind of night we having. Because if we're having like a movie night, I'm making some good comfort junk food. I'm not making anything. I'm making vegan fried chicken. I'm gonna take some gluten flour. This is how you make it. It takes some gluten flour, which is the protein extracted from flour, and then you put it in some water. It becomes gooey. You take it as pieces. You boil it, right, and then you fry it. But I got an air fryer, so even my fried, is healthy, right? So I put it in the fryer, toss in some buffalo sauce or some barbecue sauce, and I'll have like some wings or whatever with some.
So a lot of people talk about this jackfruit, right? Can you make?
Oh yeah.
Can you make barbecue or hot wings?
Pulled pork. Yeah. Because people always say, I wish I could be vegan, but I just like the taste of meat. And it's like, you really don't like the taste of meat. You know what I mean? Like if people like the taste of meat, they'd be walking up the cows and like, you don't like that. You like the texture. You like the seasoning. That's what you like. So the jackfruit has the same texture as pulled pork. So you just take the same texture and you take the same seasoning you use for pork and you just put it on the jackfruit, and then you cannot tell the difference. It's amazing. So yeah, I know how to make pulled pork. I actually made it on my YouTube channel. I made some vegan pulled pork. Yeah.
You have to check it out. Because like
Yeah.
I said, a lot of people talk about, oh wow, Preacher Lawson, he has a vegan lifestyle. You got to watch his YouTube channel. So how do you encourage like young people, for young men and women who admire you, respect you, who are coming up in the game? How do you encourage them, number one, to live a healthier lifestyle, and number two, to really be serious about what it is that they want to pursue, to be really serious about their dreams and goals. You wrote your first joke at 16. That's pretty big, pretty commendable. So what do you say to young people in terms of health is wealth, what you're putting in your body and how you really cultivate your dream?
Well, I'm definitely more I'm more passive, I think now, because when you first come vegan, you're like, this is healthier and you dive and did it. But now I just kind of show them through my lifestyle.
Right.
So like they see me working out, they see me eating vegan and eating healthy, and they see me, having energy. They see my skin glowing. I don't have any like acne or what I mean. I let them see me through that way.
Your
And
skin
as far as them,
beautiful. Your skin is, I mean, you are definitely glowing. Your complexion is,
thank
it's
you, Queen. I
you're
appreciate it. Thank you.
quite welcome.
Thank you. So I just try to do, and as far as like encouraging people to follow their dreams, I just feel like I am walking proof. I know people say that a lot, and it sounds probably corny, like I'm proof that if you want to be successful, like I get it, right? I get how that sounds, but literally, if I can do it, then it's so. My life has been like so. Like I'll look at my life and I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm supposed to be here, like, and all the things I experienced, and just like,
No, you've managed,
like,
you've earned it.
yeah,
Earned it.
yeah.
Before we wrap this up, being on a big stage, being on a global stage is a pretty big deal. I mean, it's almost like, just listening to you talk and share your story with me. You talk about writing your first jokes at 16, going to a Kevin Hart comedy show. You're still a very young man. What was it like the first time you were on that stage for America's Got Talent and you looked out, and saw this huge audience? I mean, what resonated with you? Were you nervous at all? Like, what was that like?
The most nervous I've ever been is two times. It's before I got on stage, the first time ever when I was 17, and before I got on stage, America's Got Talent. That was the most. I mean, I was so scared. And then when I got on stage and I seen all them people, I seen Howie and Simon and Heidi and Mel B. When I seen them, it went away.
Wow.
I've been doing stand up. At that time, I was doing stand up 8 years. So
Wow.
it's like I've been on.
10-year mark. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So I was doing stand up. I had just hit my 8 year comedy anniversary. Matter of fact, like a week prior. And so I've been on all kind of stages. I've been in like cafes, bars, comedy clubs. I performed at a strip club. A laundromat. I've been everywhere. Churches.
Wow. That's
I've been
serious about your craft.
I'm serious. And so when I got up there, I was like, oh, this is just another stage. So I didn't feel nervous then. But before I got on stage, I mean, I'm talking about I was shaking. It was
Wow.
crazy. Yeah, I was shaking. And I went on and I literally I ran on stage in like a silly manner to kind of loosen myself up. And then when I did it, I was like, oh, this is just be yourself, player. And so I just had fun. And,
one joke about Tyra, your forehead.
oh yeah.
How did she take that? How did
she loved it. She loved it. I actually hate my first performance on America's Got Talent, actually. I actually hate it.
Because they asked you to do more?
No, it was the first joke I did. Because when it was the first joke I did, and I did like, well, I thought it was, I mean, I'm thinking about me doing the joke, or whatever. But I did, I had this whole bit about how I got in the car, this lady, I was at the hospital, and this black lady, she was telling me how she got in a car wreck and the car flipped 8 times, and she was like, "Lucky to be alive." And I thought it was so funny, so I made a joke about it. And I was like, I did this, I did the accent, I did her accent. I did a real accent. She like, my car flipped 8 times. I'm lucky to be alive, blessed. And I was like, right? And I was like, she black, by the way. Because obviously, I mean, that was a stereotypical voice, right? And then I thought that was funny for when I said it. But then I had little white boys like coming up. And then, my car flipped 8 times, lucky to be alive, blessed. She black, by the way. And I was like, I don't really like the way. I don't like you saying that. I say that, so
I get it, man.
I didn't realize, I didn't know what was gonna happen. I didn't know people were gonna repeat. It's like it's like when a rapper does a song and then a white person re-rap your lyrics with the, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's how.
Listen, that's why as storytellers, what we all do, be it as a comedian, as a journalist, as an actress, as a writer, we're putting it all out into the world. And it's very important for us to control that narrative of what it is we're saying,
Yeah.
And it's glad that you caught that, right? Because everything you say, it goes out into the world for its own interpretation.
Exactly. People are going to take it however they want to take it. So, I mean, people take, I mean, anytime like I post on like social media and I post anything pro-black or pro-vegan, it gets a bunch of responses, a bunch of comments, bunch of likes, but I always lose followers every single time.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So it's like,
It's, you know what? But you have to speak your truth.
Yeah. I mean, exactly.
Truth. It's not about the followers. It's about you living your truth and existing in your authenticity, and just remaining audacious in everything that you're doing. I mean, your future is so bright and the best is yet to come. Preacher Lawson.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, the best is yet to come. I cannot wait to see what's coming down the pipeline for you. I see it all. Thank you. You're gonna be like a legend.
What do you see? Tell me what you see. I want to hear
movies,
What?
Yeah, I see movies. Yeah,
That'd
definitely.
be great.
Yeah, I mean, you can listen. Eddie Murphy's out there. Eddie Murphy Raw. Woo! Catapulted him. Saturday Night Live. Just returned to do Saturday Night Live and just increased the numbers by like gajillions and millions of people tuned in when Eddie Murphy came back to do Saturday Night.
I know. I'm sure he broke records. I don't even know what it was.
Yeah. I mean, whatever you say, whatever you want to do, you write it down. As a man speaketh. That Bible verse, as a man speaketh, so is he, as he is.
Yeah.
I'm calling it, God forgive me. So all the Bible people out there, please forgive me. But as a man speaketh, you got to write it down.
Yeah.
When it's written, it's law. When it's written, it's law. So that's what I was saying. Definitely get back to writing your jokes down and keeping those notes. And because it strengthens your muscle. Strengthens your muscle. Yeah.
I gotta get back. You definitely encouraged me to do that. I mean, I always, if I think of an idea, I write the idea down, but I don't sit down and write. So I think I'm gonna start doing that because you got on me. So I'm gonna listen to you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen.
That's what we do. I'm here for you. It's about collective work. This is all about journalists and having the opportunity to have these conversations. I inspire you and you inspire me right back.
Thank you.
So, what's the next video that's coming on your YouTube that we should look out for?
The next video, I'm probably doing like a reaction. I just reacted to my, I just reacted to my first special. So I think I'll probably have a try not to laugh video, or I'll probably do, I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea what's going to be on my next YouTube channel, but I do post every single day. So I post every day. So yeah.
We just know it's going to be good. I know I've been trying to wrap this up, but this is just such a great interview. It's just so organic, and I love organic, healthy conversations. Right now we're having this big uprising, given the death of George Floyd and so many other Black lives that have been cut down, that have been murdered, assassinated. What are your thoughts about, culture and politics right now and the uprising? How can you use your voice, Preacher Lawson, as a comedian, as someone who has emerged into a public figure, to really help continue to push the conversation of equality, in the entertainment industry? Maybe that's like one avenue that could be a space where you could definitely advocate for diversity and inclusion.
I think that I'm in a really good position because I was on, America's Got Talent, which is like, it's just it was, it's one of the most, it is the most popular show of the summer, but it's a very, very popular show. So my audience is broad. So I have Black, white, Asian,
Yeah.
like Latinx. I have all kind of different I have all kind of different fan base. So I educate them by letting them know my story. I posted a video and I said, if you feel like you're open-minded, like I just want you to hear me out. And I told them my story and I asked them, I was like, I essentially asked people how many times have they been pulled over for walking.
Mm.
And then, and I told them, I don't know how many times I've been pulled over from walking because I've lost count how many times I've pulled over. And I was like, I don't have any tattoos. I don't have any piercings. I don't even I grew up in the house where shut up was a cuss word. So I was like, what other reason did they have to pull me over or ask for my ID or whatever when I wasn't even old enough to have an ID? So I just explained that to them. And then it was crazy. It was a lot of comments that were like, wow, I didn't even see it from that perspective. They don't know, because I think racism comes from two places. It comes from power. Like a lot of people want power, so they try to utilize racism, and ignorance. So a lot of people they're either not that smart or they just don't know. Because back in the day, why blackface is so is people hate it so much because they wouldn't let black actors act, so they would have white people be in blackface and they would always make us rapists and murderers.
Terrible.
So white people that didn't grow up around black people, right? All they seen was all them, black people was rapists, murderers, and it's kind of like when I went to London. I went to London and I asked, you talk to Londoners and you ask them to do an American accent. They do 3 accents, right? They do I'm from America and I sound like this, right?
Oh, wow.
Or they do the I'm American. They do the Valley Girl. Or they do yo my man, I'm a gangster.
Wow.
That's their accent.
That's
Exactly, because
amazing.
yeah. So if go to London and ask them to do an impression, that's what they have. That's the 3 impressions they have. So that's how they see black people, So it's like it's just kind of weird. So I think a lot of times white people are just there's people that are racist for power, and then there's white people that are just ignorant. So if you educate them, like, hey, take this opportunity, my life is different, like this, and this, and this. How do you experience your life? Like I remember seeing this guy. He had a group of people outside. And it was all different races, ages, whatever. And he was like, take 2 steps forward if
Yeah.
You remember that video, right?
Yeah,
It was like 2
that
steps.
video. That was phenomenal.
Yeah. So, but they were looking like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And they were like, what are you doing all? And it was all the black people just at the, but there's some people that ain't gonna change their mind.
Laid. Your locks, they are laid, man. When you turn
yeah, you see?
Woo!
I wanted to get to the point where they're in my face and I need to shake it and be like, huh? Somebody call me? Anybody call me?
They look good. They look good.
Thank you. I can't. Hey, my forehead. I didn't realize it was this big.
Stop it.
I'll just.
Wait a minute. You neck and neck with Tyra Banks now. You neck and neck.
We're tied. I know. Because she pulled my hair back. She pulled it back, but it's gonna be a few days before it goes back to normal forehead.
Did you have a great time working with Tyra on America's Got Talent?
I love Tyra. And we're gonna get married one day. She don't know it yet, but we are.
Let her know.
And I'm gonna let her know.
When I run this video, I'm gonna tag her on it.
Tag her on it.
Future shot. Preacher Lawson, this is absolutely amazing. You're a remarkable young man. I cannot see what the future holds for you. Stay the course. I'm following you. I think I'm definitely following you on social media. I will tag you once I post this. And
I can't wait.
yeah, continue blessings and success. Continue.
Thank you so much for your love and positive energy. You made my day better. I really mean that. Thank you so much.
Oh, God bless you. God bless you.
God bless you too.
Take care, my love. Bye-bye.
All right. Have a good one.
I don't feel safe driving with my grandma because she's really spiritual. She loved the Lord to the point where she's not afraid of dying. So I don't like that, all right? I don't like being in the car with someone that's not afraid of death, okay? Like, she got that attitude like, if I die, I'm going to heaven, so it don't matter. I'm like, it does matter because I'm in the car, okay? This is how spiritual my grandma is. If I got shot in the chest with a gun 8 times, instead of her calling the ambulance, she would get on her knees praying like, please, Lord Jesus, I get these 8 demons outside my grandbaby's chest. Let the bullets rise up and part ways from his chest like Moses did the Red Sea. Yes, Lord. Let the blessings rain down. Yes, Lord. Lil John 3:16.